Do you see what I see, Ashley? Do you see it?
Shitbox.
Oh, look at that! Go next one, go next one. Oh, you're too close, man. Ah. Ah. Look at that with the sunset. Oh. Welcome back to another video on the Smooth As Detailing channel. Today we are finally lowering the GR Yaris. It is something I've wanted to do since I got it. It sits way too high for my liking. I know it's a rally car and whatever. Nah. All my past cars have been low slammed, other than my ute, that's lifted. But we have some Shockworks Coilovers. I'll tell you a bit about them later on. But here they are, in all their glory. And I believe they come with Camber Bolts as well, so we can adjust the camber and all that. And we'll get the alignment done next week. Just coming up to Easter now, it's a bit hard. So let's take you on this journey of installing the Shockworks Coilovers front and back. Hello. Nick? Okay. Alright, let's see what we got. What goodies we got here?
I'm sure by the box everyone can tell what's happening here.
Yep.
So we've got coilovers. They're special adjustable springs for the seats because everyone complains about seat heights.
Good
joke
everyone up, Robert. So these will be the rear shocks. As you know, they're separate. There's your damper adjustment there. Very nice. And then that's your lowered spring.
It's tiny, man. Like a motorbike shock.
Spring, I will say motorbike. It's tiny. That will be the other side. I can imagine.
The other valve spring.
Oh, look at this, right? You even get some fancy gloves.
Charles?
So that's your adjustment tools for the coilover.
And just so you don't dirty your hands.
Haha. Right.
Oh, I love the packaging.
Put up. And then this presumably will be the front. Maybe we'll weigh them as well, see how much difference.
Everything's so small.
So the top hat's cable tied on. We'll have to adjust this to what we want. And I'm guessing that's your adjustable camber bolt.
Yeah. So we're going to install everything, but obviously this is just going to go straight to DNA.
Yeah.
And then he'll do all the adjustments and alignments and yeah. But we'll get it to the ride height we want.
I'm
or
guessing
Phil wants.
That's for your brake lines.
Yep.
And then we have, I don't know what this is.
And the boys can muck around with preload and everything else.
Yeah. We'll just set the height, I guess. Yeah.
Because our specialty is just to drop it.
Oh, is that for the rear?
Yep. Left for the rear.
Yeah.
That's where the spring sits. Yep.
Yeah, mate.
So you just screw that all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, just send it.
Yeah, send it.
Alright, let's do it. Alright, so the doctor, he has his little notepad out and his little pen and his big measuring tape.
Gonna use my son's measuring tape for this car, eh?
So Rob's just getting.
Some people say, you know,
heights.
measure from the center or whatever, but I just go from the bottom of the rim. Because the rim ain't moving.
That's fine where you measure it from, as long as you get the difference. That's what you're looking for, the difference.
613.
613. Front? I reckon the front's higher, but I could just be wrong.
621.
Yeah, see, mate, my eye level's pretty good. So 613 driver rear, 621 driver front. What's this one?
621.
Exact same? Not bad.
616.
Alright, what's the Hilux?
Huh?
What's the Hilux?
805.
Let's see how accurate. Oh, you got stuff in the back, but
no, we got stuff.
It'll be off, mate.
800.
Ah, it's not bad, 5 mil. And it's fully loaded.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah, out of here I'm chatting.
Rob's figuring out the rear, how it all works. We've got some weights here. So the standard rear spring as it sits, 1.96. Then the Shockworks spring and adjusting collar, 1.89. So a little bit lighter, no extra weight in the rear. And now we'll check the shocks themselves. Now the standard shock without the top hat, we're looking at pretty much 2 kilos. And the Shockworks inverted shock, much beefier. We're looking at 2.27, so another 270 grams, but you know, you have your adjustable damper, much beefier shock, inverted. So it's a win, I think, still. And there we have it. The Shockworks shock is now in. The spring and the adjustable collar. So we'll run you through the other side now that we've figured it out and what it involves. How would you say, overly hard or?
Huh? No, it's good. It's good.
A little bit tricky.
No, it's not tricky, it's easy, but when you've got a bit of a headache, it's hard. And when it's humid, it's hard.
And we're on the floor. We don't have the
And we're on the floor.
don't have the pleasure of a nice hoist.
Like peasants.
One day. What's the humidity? 78 degrees, 78%, wasn't it?
No, it's Fahrenheit. The humidity's not working. I don't know,
It's too humid.
It's humid. It's humid. It's hot. I've got a headache.
And you just want to go camping.
And I just want to. Can you see? I just want to go. That's been packed since bloody Tuesday.
You're ready to go.
Huh?
You ready to go?
Going around like that.
Yeah.
I just want to go.
One of those blokes.
One of those tossers. Make me a coffee.
A basic rundown of what's involved for the rear.
Okay, so normally as a safety, like this is my opinion and how I do it. There's many ways to do it, and people might say, "Oh no, that's not the right way." But we normally put a jack under here just to support it, because when you undo bolts and that, you don't want to lose a finger or crush anything. So first thing we're gonna do, put the jack to support it, undo this lower control arm.
So that lower control arm there,
Yep. Then there's this other the other arm here. I just found it easy just to pull it right out, because to undo the shock, you got to loosen the nut, and then this stud you got to undo as well. Otherwise, you can't pull this shock out because it hits everywhere. So that nut
holds the shock in.
So the nut holds the shock.
And you got that thread there.
Yeah, and this undoes the actual bolt that holds the strut, where the strut rides on. Okay, so we take that off, and then there's just 2 bolts
Up the top.
up the top. They come out. Yep. And then you can basically lift the shock.
Yeah, cool.
Right out. So
and then what happens is when you remove that standard shock, we confirmed with Shockworks, on the top hat,
Disregard it all. The bump stop and the cover.
So that's connected to the standard top hat, and that just pulls off.
Because the Shockwork one's got its own one.
Inbuilt.
So this is basically reversed to the standard.
Yeah.
And the bump stop's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Where is it?
So that's it. So basically what you're going to do is remove that top hat,
Yeah.
take that off and bolt it onto
And
there.
whack it straight in. Adjust the dampener.
Yeah, we already set those.
Yeah, but they were saying that they've done it this way because then it's easier to get to when you want to adjust the dampener.
So if you had the dampener on the top,
Yep.
you wouldn't be able to get to it with the top hat.
So everything is easy to get to, even the spring.
I've already set that, but we'll have to double check
Just
it.
like that. Yep. Yeah, so we're just basically setting it
To
like
what we
Phil wants
think.
it. Yeah, 48 mil lower than
Give or take,
standard. So we're just basing it off that, and then depending on spring tension and whatnot, is where it will end up.
Yeah. So obviously we'll probably have to make adjustments once it's on the floor, but if we can get it as close as possible at the start, is good. Anyway, you do that. I'm on coffee duties. We forgot something.
It's off on my knee, bro.
Forgot to wear the gloves, man.
Yeah, so now I know why they give you the gloves. These just get formed out.
304?
A little bit bigger.
Shit everywhere. Also to note, wherever we found factory thread sealant, we're reapplying some thread locker, just to be safe. Spring is in, adjustable collar, Shock is now going in. And then button it all back up. Now when tightening everything back up, we've jacked it all the way up so the weight is all on that hub, like it'd be sitting on the floor pretty much. And then we do all the final tightens up and check-ups and make sure everything is buttoned up nicely.
Bottom shock.
Big shock.
Big shock.
The
bottom shock bolt that holds the shock in place.
Yeah.
Best to put that on first with these bolts off and these control arm bolts off so you can move the hub back and forward. Otherwise you can't get the angle right.
Yeah. You gotta be careful not to thread it. Way too high.
Open the hatch and just sit on a couple of rings. That's what it is. Yeah, it must be a lot stiffer.
A lot stiffer.
Oh, it's come down a bit. 48.
Yeah.
So 48 minus 11. So still got to go down 37 mil. We knew, you never get it right the fuck.
Oh, we've done it before.
Yeah, but we're not experts.
We're not experts.
We're not a suspension expert.
We're just the backyardies, mate. We're just detailers. Alright, take 2.
If it's too low, it's staying there.
If it's too high, not good.
Okay, so you keep going, girl. Come on.
I don't know, hey. Take the jack out, like, let it out. It's better. So what we've done, we've adjusted the spring all the way physically possible. So theoretically that's the lowest it will go. And hopefully we get the desired height we want, eh Robert?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Here he goes. Low as possible. That's better. So we just got to keep in mind it's going to sag a little bit more.
Leave the front so it looks like you're doing a front wheel burnout all the time. You're launching all the time.
So what's the measurement?
What do you mean?
Measure it now.
Yeah, I'll see.
Do the good old bounce test. That's how I wanted it to sit, I won't lie.
Yeah, you just got to see if it's going to ride correctly.
So originally this side was 616 mil. Robert, you want to do the honours?
1 second, let me just check something please.
When have you done?
Okay.
This card is one-handed. We are now at 575. So what's that? 616 minus 575. That's what we've lowered it by.
41 mil.
Oh, close to what we wanted.
Yeah.
Looks good. That's neat.
That might raise up a little bit when we do the front now.
Yeah, but it also might sag a bit once everything settles. So we'll see. What is that?
What did I just say? 51?
One finger. 41 mil.
41 mil. So we're going to bring the front down that much.
Yeah. So the front have little caps. Oh yeah, so they're just little rubber caps that sit on top. It gives you access to the top hat nut.
So this one here.
Beautiful. Alright, so passenger front complete. Easier than the back, I'd say, Rob?
Yeah.
So we've removed the wipers and the front plastic louver or cowl, whatever we call it. It just gives you a real quick access to these top strut bolts. You can sort of access them with that on, but with this it's just easier. You don't damage nothing. It's a lot easier. So supplied camber bolts with the kit. What is it? Just simply, what do you got? What are you doing there? ABS
so
line?
it's 14 mil. The brake line and the ABS bracket.
Yep.
Off.
The bottom clip's already taken off.
Yep. Sway bar link. Undo it from there.
Yep.
That's it. And this one here. Very tight.
I think you got it on tight.
No. We'll do the bottom one first. Alright.
That's it. And then the top strut bolt, which is... Yep. Yeah, like we were saying. So really you could say it's 5 bolts. Okay.
Yeah. And just be careful with the CV because you don't want it to flop out and then there's the risk of it and they're lodging and...
Right. Now we're going to change the top hats.
Now we know there's no tension in this because we've done the last one.
We've done the last one. So. Boom! So we take the top rubber mount off and the one that sits underneath it.
That's just like that.
Yep.
This is a locator. Where's the strut? Yeah.
Yeah.
Undo the cable of the tyres. Put the locator. Get this in. No.
Install.
That's it. Now we do our measurements again.
Yep. Yeah.
Camber pin, there's this sleeve. So this is got to go be inserted into here. Okay,
yep.
In there. I've got a cable tie in there at the moment, so it can't. Alright, where's that ruler? So we said we had what? 38?
Let me go check our measurements. 38. And then between the two collars was 35. Hey, I think you got it just about on the money. For the first go.
Thanks. It's going to drop. It's going to drop. You know what's going to happen? It has to come up a bit. Looks pretty sick, but...
That does look good. So to recap, the bottom is all the way maxed out. We took measurements of that so we can check it later if it settles. Oh yeah.
Hey Nick, how are you, man?
And now the front, we took it just a guesstimate as a base, and it's almost on the money, to be honest.
No, we set the wheel up.
Ooh.
We set the wheel up when we first put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a rough idea, like
Yeah.
it wasn't
It's
just
about, I think the overall strut length height, we dropped it by
I
like...
can't take you seriously when there's two kids in the background flying. Yeah.
The overall strut length height, I think we've done it 80 mil shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, 80, I think it was about 85 mil shorter.
Okay. So what was the front before?
The front before standard was 621 each side.
621.
621.
$579. 579.
So 621 minus 579. Oops.
This looks a bit high inside. 581. Jeez.
So that one's 40 mil lower, that side. What's the other side? What was it again? What was the other side?
79.
That's 580.
79. And this is 80. Yeah, wait. No. 71, I think that was. This is 5 81. 581.
581. 581.
And this is... Oh no, sorry. What the fucking was it, man?
Been a long day.
79.
Ah, 2 mil difference. Bugger all.
Should we screw this up 2 mil then?
Not
Because
really.
you're going to sit in it, obviously.
So we're just looking roughly, we've set the camber just by eye, so this wheel has a lot more camber, which could affect the ride height a lot. So until we get a proper alignment and get it all sorted, then we'll know. But that's what we're sitting at the moment.
Looks hot. That looks mad.
Should we start it and check it for scrapes?
Yeah.
Lock to lock. Probably should get the keys though. Alright, ready? What's it look like?
Heaps.
Plenty?
Yeah, leave it like that.
Alright, here we go. She's coming. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Damn. Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh yes. I gotta clean the wheels. It's filthy, but oh man, she is fat. Really need to clean these wheels, but you get the idea. Oh yes. Oh, it just looks good from every angle. Got to test drive it still and get an alignment, but the day's gotta cut it short. Do you see what I see, Ashley? Do you see it?
Shitbox.
Oh, look at it! Go next one, go next one. Oh, you're too close, man. Ah. Ah. Look at that with the sunset. Oh. Stan, what do you reckon? Oh, yes. Look. You like it? You like it? So you may ask, who is Shockworks? Shockworks is an Australian company ran by Brett and his 2 sons. Now Brett has had 20 plus years, I think it is, 20 plus years in suspension tuning, dampers, adapting suspension to chassis and particular tires. He's done suspension tuning for the Ford Falcon FPV. He's done it for all sorts of race teams and a lot of OEM stuff. And that's where all his background knowledge comes from when creating coilovers, particular to certain chassis. So this coilover here comes in at about 2,600 Australian dollars. Full height adjustability, full damper control. Currently, what am I on now? Currently I'm on, so the damper's got 12 settings, I'm on 5, front and back. So it's on the softer side of things, for the street. Want it to be as comfortable as possible. And then once we get to a track, depending on which track, then we, adjust it from there. Someone beeping, I don't understand who. So currently, ride, what do I think? Very close to standard when it comes to sort of firmness. I haven't driven it too much. I've done a few kilometers so far, so my fiance is calling me. Yes, dear.
Hey, babe.
Yes.
What do you want from Ty?
Surprise me. Anything you
Between
like.
you and my mum.
Well, whatever you like. Surprise me. Sung Chao Bao. Oh no, that's not Thai.
No. Yeah, I'll get pad Thai with chicken. I'll get a chicken cashew nut.
Yep.
A fried rice.
Yep.
And a beef one. Alright, bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Happy wife. No, is it happy wife, happy life? We're not married yet, but anyway. Back to what I was saying. Very close to OE feel. So ride's comfortable. Obviously I've still got to get a wheel alignment so that, you know, that, oh, I'm losing you guys. The wheel alignment's out of whack, obviously. We tried to get it as close as possible. So it's got the adjustable front camber bolts. The rear is not adjustable until you get some aftermarket arms or, you know, whatever option you take. Currently, like we said, we've got the back as low as possible. That's as low as it goes. I have heard some scraping here and there from the back only. So we'll have to look into where that's coming from. It's on the larger dips on the road. So I'm going to assume on the track it would scrape, no doubt. So we'll have to see where that's coming from. And then from there, if we can fix it, depending what it is. If not, ultimately, we're going to raise the car at the back a bit. So far, the front's been fine. But again, I've just been doing some daily driving up and down. So nothing too major to report yet. So overall, we've got the car lowered by about, I have to check the numbers, between 45 to 50 mil lower than standard. Now with the H&R springs, I believe you only get 30 or 35 mil, correct me if I'm wrong. So I wanted to go a little bit lower, and I wanted that damper adjustment, you know, for the track and whatnot, and mainly I wanted the height. So from here, we're going to do a white line anti-lift kit and probably rear camber arms, depending what the alignment comes back at with. We're going to head to DNA Autosport. Those dudes know their stuff. Very track-orientated guys. In saying that, I want to keep it still streetable, but when it comes to the track, I want to be able to dial it in nicely. I want to get rid of these tyres. They're 5 years old, they're noisy, they're too firm for the road, and I just need something a bit more, you know, comfortable, but still good for the track. So I've got to find a good happy medium. So I'm going to drive a little bit more and report back to you at the end of this drive.
A few screws loose in the head, I'm a psycho. Promise you the bar just as real as the bike though. Misunderstood, you could call me a typo. I shine hotter than the stars in the night though. Hate the who's, don't give me a title. Flipped in that set, so I don't worry the price though. Got scratched like mine, no, leave it to the tribal. I ain't even trying to try though. I could do this with my eyes closed. If I got nothing on my goals, my girl ain't plastic, she don't even recycle. All these kids just wanna be idols. All these kids just wanna be rival. I need something.
So what do I think about the Shockworks Coilovers? Mint. It rides beautiful, a little bit firmer than standard, but considering the height I'm at, crazy. It's amazing. I think the scraping is coming from, because these tyres are a little bit chunkier than your usual 255s, they're a bit more square. It's coming from the outer edge of the tyre as it compresses. I think it's either just tapping the bumper or something close to it, or the fender liner, so I've got to look a bit more into it, see how much camber I've got, see if I can play with it. Amazing. Couldn't be happier. So what's next? I don't know, man. Should have the turbo back exhaust soon though, so that'll be exciting. And another track day, I reckon, with the coilovers. So stay tuned for all that. Let us know what you think about the ride height. If you've got the Shockworks Coilovers, or if you're going to another brand, love to hear your feedback. Another thing to note as well, you'll notice with your standard suspension, when you give it, you know, first, second or third, whatever gear it may be, the car squats, right? And now it's just planted. You got a little bit of squat, which you need, but it is just planted. So I'm very excited to put it on the track. When I was speaking to, I gave Brett a call regarding a couple of things about the install, just to confirm. He was more than happy to help. Top bloke. You know, he told me about the testing they did and the feedback they received and the feedback they felt through the vehicle. They reckon, you know, powering through corners, because he used to squat so much, it would induce, you know, understeer, because then the front end was getting light. He goes, you know, that's been eliminated now. So will there be a need for sway bars? I don't know. We'll have to see. So I want to go to the track and test it out, and probably get John Boston to drive it as well and see what his thoughts are, and then just go from there. So exciting times. Alright, so Ashley's been in this car almost as much as not almost, but you've been in this car a fair bit.
Yeah, I have.
And you've driven with it with the standard suspension. What do you think now? Because we all know women love to complain how low the car is, how uncomfortable it is. Can you tell a difference?
No, it literally is the exact same.
It's not bumpier.
Have you even done anything to it?
You seen how low it looks? So honestly, the ride quality is cracker. The bumps feel the same. it doesn't track over, or that's to alignment I guess, but it doesn't track over, you know, any of the grooves on the road. It feels phenomenal. So I've got the damper settings on 5 out of 12 clicks, so it's on the softer side. On the track obviously we'll stiffen it up a bit accordingly to the track, but it feels phenomenal. It takes up the bumps well. It does scrape a little bit at the back. We're gonna fix that. Is that right here?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't tell the difference, can you?
Nah.
No complaints from you. That means I don't have to hear ya sucking. My ute.
That was close.
My ute is more bumpy than this.
Yeah, but that thing is lifted to
Jacked
the...
up. So yeah,
Okay.
if you're looking for quality coilovers and you don't want to jeopardize the ride quality of daily duties, Shockworks. Alright, and now if I gun it around this corner, you'll probably hear it scrape. Not that I really want it to scrape.
Don't gun it, please.
I think I lost the bumper bar. Anyway.
And the food in the back.
And the food in the back.
Ciao.
Alright, ciao. Alright, so it's been about 30-40 k's of driving and a few hours since it's been installed, and I can confirm it has dropped a little bit. Let me brighten it up a bit. So it has dropped a bit. May have to sort of lift it back up a bit. I have found where it is scraping. So if you look, oh, you're not going to really be able to see. So right in here on the inside, you can just sort of see there, there's little marks. So it's scraping and just catching the outside of the tyre. So because where that is, I don't think putting more camber into it will fix it. Ideally, you probably want a offset of a rim that pushes the rim in a bit more. These are plus 38. Yeah, plus 38. So that's not an option either. So more than likely, I'm going to have to raise it. I don't think there's any other way around it, but I will see. I'll have to pull the wheel off and see exactly what is there. If it's just a part of the plastic guard liner, if we can trim it to make room, or yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out. So I won't do too hard of driving until then, but she looks beautiful. It's an awesome ride height. If I can keep it, I'd be very happy. We'll see how we go. One more thing. I did a Facebook post and I worked out for one of these guys how much I actually lowered it by. So the rear, we've lowered it by roughly 47 to 49 millimeter drop compared to standard, and the front is approximately 49 to 51 mil. That's how much it's been lowered by. So again, the H&R springs and most lowering springs are going to give you a drop of about 30 to 35 mil. That's probably the safe point, I guess, of, you know, keeping the standard shock still working as it should and not bottoming out and no scraping and stuff like that. But that wasn't low enough for me, so I did want the coilovers for this particular reason also. What I've lowered it to at the moment is probably a little bit too low, but that's what will help. Well, no, sorry, that's not what will help, but that's where DNA will help, and they'll check the geometry of the suspension and they'll say, hey, maybe your lower arms are too much of an angle, or, you know, whatever it may be. So that's for them to look at and go, hey, if you want the best for handling, maybe you got to raise it 5-10 mil. But I do want form and function. So while it might look, you know, awesome this low, it may not be the best for handling. So I'll leave it to those boys. They'll figure it out for me. They'll tell me what's best, and see if I can find a sweet spot for both looks and handling.